Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
Yeah. Listen, success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You gotta put that work in, man. You gotta go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go
Inspire.
out and I go get it. How to go,
You're in the
that's all
right
I know.
place.
I don't
You're
succeed
checking
if I
out
don't breathe.
Chip
Success,
Baker,
what does it
the
mean?
Success
If I
Chronicles.
conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we have Miss Davita Garfield with us. She's coming to us from Philadelphia. She is a business systems coach and consultant, speaker, author. She helps women entrepreneurs and small businesses reach their goals. And so really interesting life story, doing a lot of great things to help people. And so, and like you see in the background there, just showing love, to help folks. And so, first, thanks so much for interviewing with the Success Chronicles.
Thank you so much for having me. So honored to be here.
Well, good deal. Well, let's jump into it. Talk to us about your life story. Kind of, if you don't mind tracking that up until now, from when you're a young one.
Absolutely. So before we started, you talked about being a work in progress. And so I will say that is absolutely one of my mantras. I believe that I am absolutely a work in progress. So just, really humble beginnings. I felt like I had, I felt like I had a pretty normal life. It wasn't really until probably moving into my teenage years and adulthood that I started to not feel so normal, so to speak. So born and raised, lived with my mother in Philadelphia, and found myself, and I guess in my teenage years, being really angry, not really being able to figure out why. There were some deep things, some things that had occurred in my childhood that I just wasn't ready to face, not even for myself. So I left home. I felt like I needed a plan, and so my plan was to go to college. And it was, if I make it out of this house, I'll never come back. And that was the plan, and I stuck to it. And so I went to college, got my undergrad degree in social work, and, really was looking forward to just moving into my career, moving into life. I felt like I had kind of like passed all those childhood things that I was, just trying to just see my life differently. And so I moved right into my career. Life was great. So I bought my first house at 24. And I actually had a job like 3 days after my college graduation, which was like unheard of. I was definitely blessed out of, some of my other friends who were struggling a little bit for a while. But, just really moved. I just moved. I moved into the career. I bought my house. I was, really, just trying to establish myself as just, this very independent woman, but also very social, took care of my friends and my family and was there for them. Had an amazing little girl with my college sweetheart. And things weren't so great in the relationship area, but she was the amazing blessing that came out of that. Became a mom at 27, and life really just couldn't look any better, so I thought. And actually, probably around 28, I started playing co-ed touch football. And yes, me, co-ed touch football, and very girly. So I'm very girly, but that was just a turning point for me because I found this outlet. I found this way to really exude this competitive this competitive nature that I didn't even know was inside me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and that was, it was really, I spent 6 years playing competitively, just really enjoyed it, loved the game. Sometime around 34 or 35, I had just, started to move forward in my, got my master's degree in health administration and moved into sales. I was doing social work, moved into sales, and ultimately moved to management. And so when I made that jump to management, I was absolutely on this career climb. Career climb. This is what you do.
Yeah.
I job, I did the career, I'm just supposed to move up, I'm supposed to make more money. And that was, that was really what I thought I was supposed to do, and I was doing it. So I show up in this, my first middle management position, and probably was the hardest like work environment, just because it just wasn't a great environment. It wasn't really positive, but truly just, push through because I wanted to do well. I wanted to show up. I wanted to be there for my team. I wanted to win.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did everything I needed to do to show up. But in the midst of that, I wasn't showing up for me. And so what had started to happen was I just started to feel tired. I felt achy. I was, starting to have like just aches and pains that I couldn't really explain. And right when I was, I guess, in the midst of that job, my childhood best friend committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, just a time, and it was around 2011. It was just the hardest death I ever like experienced like losing loved ones. But this was different. It felt different. And I don't know if it was because it was just so many unanswered questions, but I entered what I didn't know at the time was this really dark state and of depression.
Yeah.
And I was still moving. So it was I probably cried for the first 3 months every single day. And then I felt like I did what I knew how to do, what I had, always done in my life. When things look bad, or if it seems as if I don't have it together, you got to put your game face on. You got to hide it. You got to cover it up. And so I stopped talking about it. I stopped crying about it. But I believe that I was still suffering, like on the inside. And so probably about 6 months after, I started having these really bad anxiety attacks. Again, work is really stressful. I'm thinking work is stressing me out. All these things are happening. Decided to, quit playing football because I'm like, I have all these aches and pains. I actually thought I was old at 35. So I don't know if so in Philly we do, you see the telephone poles and people will like throw their
Yeah.
Okay, so we did the ceremonious threw my cleats up in the on the whole line. Right, so that was it. It was like, I'm done. I'm just, I must be getting old. This is like around 34. But probably a few weeks after, I still felt tired and achy. I still couldn't. I felt the same way. I felt like I couldn't really just get a grasp on what was going on. So going back and forth, I go to the doctors. I'm like, something just doesn't feel right. Initially, it's like, you're just depressed. You probably should go to therapy, and I did. So initially, anything doctors told me to do, I was doing because I was trying to figure out, like, I just didn't feel normal. Something felt off. And so started going to therapy. And over the course of a year, the depression actually got worse. The therapy helped a lot, though. I have to say that, because I thought I was there to deal with my friend's death. And ultimately, I was there to deal with things that I had buried, like things that from my childhood that I still couldn't even say the words. And I didn't necessarily do a lot of that work in therapy, but it was the beginning of me journaling, the beginning of me just trying to figure out, like, how did I get here? I thought my life was great. I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. And every day I just don't feel good. I'm not happy and I can't figure it out. And I have this little girl who's watching me just kind of turn into this person that she doesn't even recognize. I went from being really social. I spent about a year just completely hiding, completely, not wanting to be around people. And then more physical things started to happen in my body that really had me questioning, like what was going on. And so I'm going back and forth to the doctors because now, my skin is changing. I'm starting to look different. I gained about 40 pounds in 3 months. And I have really bad acne, and there's just so many things going on. I have headaches. I'm having hot flashes. My hair is falling out. It's just, all of these things. And over the course of the year, I'm going to doctor after doctor, and they're like, we don't know. We don't know what's wrong. And ultimately, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And initially, I accepted it because I said, well, hey, I'm having all this pain. I'm in pain every single day. Top of my head, bottom of my feet, I'm in pain. And I don't know why. And so I said, well, this must be it. And so as I'm going through, like trying to accept that this might be like what's going on with me, I really felt like it was like a death sentence, because I felt like, okay, well, we're gonna say you have this thing called fibromyalgia because we don't know what's wrong with you. You have this widespread pain, and so we'll just put you under this umbrella, and you just have to learn to live with the pain, is what I was told. So I'm on all types of medication. At a certain point, I'm on antidepressants. I'm considering one in my life, because I really felt like I was losing my life, and really had this moment where I finally felt like I understood, not totally, but understood how my friend must have felt when he felt like there were no more options, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that was very eye-opening for me, and it pushed me to do something, to get help, to figure out, like, what, there has to be a better way, and really like make a different decision. I was negative. I was angry. I was frustrated. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And so went on this whole this whole journey of wanting to be healthy from the inside out, like the whole me, and wanting to go to the doctors and not be seen as a body part, right? And not be seen as like, well, I had hypertension. I developed hypertension. I developed diabetes, and the doctor saying, well, you're African American. You got hypertension. You're headed toward diabetes. You probably should go on a diet. And I'm like, I don't eat, right? I don't eat, but this weight is like it just keeps coming, and and now I'm hiding. I'm hiding because I don't want people to see me, and it just I can't figure it out. So it's probably around, I'll speed up a little bit, around March of 2014, I just made a decision that I was done. I was tired. And literally, like, the first decision I made was to stop trying to fix it or hide from it. Like, I was hiding it, or I was fixing it myself. And I finally said, God, I can't do this. And I gave it to God. And I was like, I'm literally in the middle of the night moment, God, this is yours. Like, I can't figure this out, and I need you to fix it. And I believe that you will. And it was when I changed, like, my mindset and decided to believe, right? I believe that I was going to live. I believe that I was, that whatever was going on in my body, it had a purpose. Like, there has to be. Why would I be going through this much pain if there wasn't a purpose, if there wasn't something I was supposed to do with it? And had a couple conversations, and had a conversation with my aunt, who's an evangelist, and I said, I'm miserable at work. I hurt all the time. I feel like I'm going to die. Like, I got to figure something out. And she told me, get a journal, put Habakkuk 2:3, write the vision, make it plain, and just wait on God. And literally, like, I knew I always had this passion and this thing that I did at work, just in management. From being in management, management was seen as like it was very negative in that environment. So people ran from management. But I was not the type of person that, like, made people scared or afraid or not wanting to be around me. So I found that, like, people under me would, like, flock to me. And so I was always talking to women. I was always saying, like, hey, what do you want to do? What's your dream? Talking to housekeeper, talking to the front desk person. What is, I mean, and I've visited a lot of, like, other facilities. So I say, oh, you want to work in the hospital? Give me your resume. I'll take it with me. I'll pass it on for you. And it was just a natural thing to do. I didn't even, like, think anything of it. But I felt like I also had to do something else. Like, I had to stop hiding. I had to stop pretending that I felt good. I did for a whole year. I didn't tell anybody the stuff that was going on in my body, and the stuff and the fact that I just didn't feel good. I just didn't show up, and the only person that really saw it was my daughter. She saw me every single night. I cried every night. I'm up. I don't sleep. And so I felt like I can't possibly be the only person that feels like this, and started to just have conversations with women, and and it wasn't necessarily about the sickness. It was just about the fact that, like, look, some days I just feel like I'm a hot mess and I can't figure it out. Like, and people call because they think I'm supposed to show up, and they think I have it all together and I have all the answers. I don't have the answers. And so how can I be honest about that? And so I started a group on Facebook. It was really just like, let me just create this group to create a space for women to come in where we can just kind of, like, take the mask off, and we can be transparent, and we don't have to feel like we have it together all the time. And we can just encourage each other, like, not beat each other down. There's a lot of that going on, and we don't have to do that here. And so it was like this sacred space, but I really, like, I was scared to do it. I added like 20 women, like I figured it was like my safe women, like they won't think I'm crazy, like, but everybody might. And slowly but surely, I started to add more women, and I opened it up for women to invite other women. And literally within almost like a couple of months, it grew to almost 1,000 members. And but it was women saying like, hey, I was looking for a space like this. I was looking for, and I just started to be like just more transparent. Like, hey, listen, I'm a work in progress every day. Every day God allows me to see another day as an opportunity for me to be a better person. And so some days I don't get it right. Some days my attitude is not so great. Some days I don't always say the right thing, and but I get an opportunity to do the work. So once I recognize that I have to do this work, then I'm headed in the right direction. And so it's okay. It's okay to be in that space as long as you're doing the work. And so this thing just like turned into a movement. But what I didn't realize was that in the midst of it, it was giving me the strength that I needed on those nights that I was in pain. Right. And so now I'm like, this is for me. Like it was giving me energy. It was giving me life because I'm up all night anyway. And I'm like, if I'm here, it's all positive. It's so good. And in the midst of that, I made a decision. I had locks for 10 years, and they were like all the way down the middle of my back. My hair is like falling out. I made a decision to finally cut it because it just was like, I just didn't feel good anymore. And so I cut my hair, and I had this like I called it my fat hump. It's like a fat deposit back here. Something that to me just was ugly, right? Yeah. And so I'm wearing scarves, and I'm wearing, my suit jackets and scarves, and it's the summertime, and I'm like, I just, I don't know, I don't understand. And I finally made a decision where I was done with all these different medications, and I went to the doctor for the last time, and I said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to figure out something holistic. I'm going to figure out another way. I'm trusting that God is going to, this thing is going to go, it's going to go away, or we're going to figure it out. And I can't convince you to stay on the medication if it's not helping. So I go to leave his office, and I'm like, I walk by and I see this like hump in the mirror, and I'm like, hey, what do you think this is? Like, I have a lot of pain here and it's stress. And it literally was like a light bulb goes off in his head. And he described a disease called Cushing's disease that I had never heard of. And he said, it's your body's overproduction of your stress hormone. And so, it's made in your adrenal glands. That's your fight or flight. That's that thing that kicks up to protect you when your body's under stress. He said, when you have Cushing's disease, your body's making too much of it. Your brain's telling your body, hey, she's under stress. She needs all this cortisol. And so it blows you up like you're on steroids, which answered why I look the way I look. Because I'm like, I didn't look like this before. A year ago, I didn't look like this. And he said, so it literally was, I went home and I looked it up, and I saw my picture. I knew that this was me. And he said that it's usually caused by a brain tumor. And so here we are now, and I'm convinced. I'm like, and I'm so grateful. I'm thanking God. I feel like, finally I'm not crazy. Like I'm finally.
Yeah, there's an answer.
There's an answer, right? Yeah, right. And it wasn't a bad thing for me. I'm like, well, I just want to know. And so it really again came at that time where this group of women they didn't even know that this is that they were supporting me in that way, but it was just to show that women absolutely do want to support each other, and it doesn't even have to be about me knowing all your business or being all up in everything that's going on. It's just, hey, I see you doing doing what you're doing on a daily basis, and I support you, and that's what it was. And I had my surgery to remove the tumor, because they did find a tumor about a month later, confirmed the tumor, and I had surgery in September of 2014. And literally, like at home, started writing the business plan while I'm healing from the surgery, because it was the first time that I had ever taken off work. I went to work every single day sick, and never told anybody it was anything wrong, because I just felt like I just got to keep going. I got to keep going. Now I gave up at home, so there were things that were going like that I just wasn't taking care of at home because I didn't have any energy. I'd get home and sometimes couldn't even walk up the steps. And that was, it was my life. And so I said, you know what, God, you heal me and I get up out this bed. I'm walking in purpose and I'm never looking back. Like this is it. And so I ended up accepting another corporate position, and it was a higher position. It was for more money. It was me finally reaching where I said, if I get to here, if I get over 6 figures and I get, then I'm happy. I'm good. Life is good. And life felt good because right after my surgery, I got my life back. my health got better. I lost the weight. My hair started growing back. My skin cleared up. Like just all these things. I had reproductive issues that they all cleared up. And there was just so much. I was just so grateful. And I entered a women's business coaching program with no business or business idea and came out with a business. So I graduated from the program with a business and started my business empowerment now in March of 2015. And it was almost at that moment, it was like a 3-month mark of me being at my new job, and sat down with my boss, and initially there was no like bonus structure that was offered, but about after 3 months, he says, hey, I want to offer you a bonus structure. And this is going to add another almost $20,000 to your, income for the year. And I'm sitting there and I'm taking notes, but I don't feel anything. And I can't figure out like, why aren't I happy? And my colleague looks at me and goes, aren't you excited? And I'm like, I think so. And it was about an hour and a half drive home from this location. And I just remember thinking that like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life chasing somebody else's dream. And I know that God gave me this purpose. This thing didn't just happen to me for me to just like, all right, move on with your life. You're healthy. Life is good. Go back to normal and chase the money. And I said, God, I'm going to leave this job. And when I leave, it's going to be for purpose. It's not going to be for 6 figures. It's going to be for purpose. And we'll figure out the money later. Right. And so I made a plan and I started the plan. I did, just really took me about a year or more to really figure out like what I wanted to do with the business. But I was working and then I was working. So I would work my job and I would come home and all night long, I'm building a dream. I'm working. I'm trying to figure it out.
You're working.
Huh? I'm working. It looked like 20 different things and at all different times. I had no idea what it was, but I just said, I'm just going to continue to tell my story and I'm going to continue to help women and figure out what that looks like. And about a year or so in, I knew I wanted to write a book. I just didn't know what. I said, well, I'll just write about like just some self-care tips because that was the biggest lesson for me. Take care of you. Absolutely take some time. Be selfish and take care of you because you can't give to anybody else if you don't take care of yourself first. So I can't show up. I can't be I can't be a great leader at work. I can't be a great mom, family member, daughter, until I show up for me. And so sometimes I have to say no. Sometimes I have to give my body time to rest. I have to go to sleep. I can't stay up all night building a dream. I have to give myself some time to rest. And I, kept trying to write this book and it wasn't happening. I had this experience. I'm in West Philly, and that's where I was born and raised, but I didn't live there when I became an adult. And I'm at a juvenile justice center. And almost 2 weeks later, I was at a shelter, but they were right across the street from each other, but right around the corner from the house that I grew up in. And I hadn't been in that house. My daughter had at that point, and still to this day, has never seen me inside of that house. But my mom lives there today. And so I'm there. It's all nostalgic. I went to school around here. It's weird. I'm like, why am I here? And I go in and I'm speaking to these young ladies. Well, they're speaking to me really, and they're talking about they're in trouble. They're not not necessarily in a good space, but they're talking about self-esteem. They're talking about abuse. They're talking about rape. They're talking about just different things. And I'm sitting there and now I walk in and they're like, oh, you're so sharp. And I'm thinking like, I remember when I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't think that I was worthy of love. I remember how I felt about my mother. I remember being abused. And at that point, I still hadn't even really said the words publicly, but, even out loud to family. And it was almost like I went home and I'm thinking about this like a couple days later and I hear God say, tell the whole story. At that point, I'm out, I'm speaking about this life-changing, I had a brain tumor and God allowed me to see me through this brain tumor and get my life back. But I felt like he was saying, but you have this whole other story that what if you had said to those girls, hey, me too. Hey, I was abused too. Hey, I had these feelings and it won't always look like this. It doesn't have to end here. Like you can see yourself past your circumstances. You just got to dream and you got to make the plan and you got to do the work. But I couldn't even say that to those young ladies because I didn't know that was what I was supposed to do. And he's like, no, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Nothing's going to happen until this book gets written. And so I spent the next 6 months doing absolutely nothing in my business, but writing this book. So I wasn't taking any clients. I wasn't making any money. And I was still working my full-time job, thank goodness. But it was out of that my book, Tell the Whole Story, was birthed, where I just really was able to finally be transparent and finally realize that like all of those things that happened in my childhood that I thought were bad and I was ashamed of and they were negative, that was how I got to 35, sick, aching, can't figure it out, hiding, feeling like nobody wants to see my pain. Nobody wants to see the ugly parts, because I remember that the biggest trauma for me was when I was told, don't tell anybody, by my mother. And realizing that like no one wants to see the bad parts. No one wants to see. So I hid that pain. I learned how to put that mask on. And I learned that nobody's gonna protect me but me. So I had to take care of it. I had to fix it, until God said, no, like you can't fix this. And so it was like full circle. It really was full circle when I finally realized that like I didn't wake up. Like everything that happened to me made me who I am, and it makes me who I am today. And so because of it, I'm not ashamed. I don't have to be ashamed. I don't have to be, all of those things needed to happen in order for me to be who I am, in order for me to be the mother that I didn't have, in order for me to finally learn how to forgive and love her, where she is, and understand that she's a person too. And the anger that I felt at 17, 18, 19, 20 in college and really had to finally leave in order for me to be free and understand that, that I don't know what her life was like. And I don't know why she didn't have the tools to protect me. But I believe that like she did the best she could. And so it freed me and it allowed me just to kind of like move forward. But ultimately just really led me to where I am today. I spent the last like 2.5 years of just after my first surgery, just living my best life. And then life hit me again. And so that was a bigger lesson because coaching for me has been helping women to see beyond their circumstance and say, okay, hey, I made a goal. I want to accomplish this goal. And I need to accomplish it even when life is happening, because life always happens, right? Something always happens. We're waiting for the kids to grow up. We're waiting to lose 20 pounds. We're waiting for the perfect job. We're waiting for the perfect man. But we still have to accomplish our goals. So what do you do when life showed up for me last year because I got another brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
And I found myself right back in that same space all over again. I had this rare disease and I believed that I wanted to believe that like this was never going to happen again. But I believe, God, he shows up like, look, if there's a lesson that needs to be learned, I'm going to show you in any way, I'm going to help you learn it.
Possible.
Whatever, right? Yeah. And so I wasn't so happy when I found out the second time, because for me, it was like, you know what, we did this already. Why are we doing this again? But the lesson really was to be faithful and to really show, how can I talk to women about accomplishing their goals, even when life shows up, if I'm not willing to do it myself. And so I left my job in June of 2017, and I was diagnosed at the end of that month, re-diagnosed. And so you talk about like faith, like, okay, I'm gonna run back to this job because this makes sense. And the sickness happens, and now I can't run back to the job because it just wouldn't make sense, or to another job. And so it really was that faith walk. It was still showing up. It was still, helping the women that I felt like God purposed me to help. And I made it through another surgery, September 2017, 3 years almost to the date from the first surgery. And, just really, again, said, all right, God, what is it? And so I truly, so I'm blessed because you asked me to be here today, because I know that it's all a part of the plan. Because I said, God, this is my year to speak, because I had gotten away from it. I started just really like moving in, like, just I'm living life, I'm good. But I know that there is just power in the testimony, power in helping people see that, that they're not alone. And that, hey, if I can make it through and I can still figure out how to, try to be the best version of myself, then you absolutely can do it. And so I claim that this year will be all speaking. And I have literally the opportunities, I'm not even searching for them, and they just come because I know that it's a part of my purpose. And so, and many of them, it's not for financial gain. It is really just hopes that I could encourage and inspire somebody to just see past your circumstance, do it anyway, do it scared, And out of that, just more purpose and definition has come to my business. And so this is, just really a good recovery time, full of clients, full of just many exciting things happen. So just excited. That's my life story, I guess, in a nutshell.
Oh
And I
my
forgot to
gosh.
mention I have an almost 14-year-old, so that's a whole nother
That's a whole nother story, huh?
whole nother story.
You hit on a lot of great points. Um, just, see yourself, past your circumstances, and regardless of what you're going through, and being faithful and just continuing to grind and, do things the right way and know that God has a plan, even though, we may think we have the plan, really he has the plan. It's up to us. We just got to be faithful and know that, hey, he got us, you know?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I truly appreciate you sharing that. And man, there's a lot of good nuggets in there that one could learn from. I think one big thing is that really hit me is, we all go through tough things in life, and how you were explaining about the process of you in the midst of you trying to help people, with a good heart, with a servant's heart, you end up helping yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
And isn't it crazy how that happens? Now I can say it's the same way with me with the Success Chronicles. Same thing, just from a good heart shooting to inspire and motivate. But really, um, it's truly helped me. It's
Hmm.
inspiring me to hear your story. I'm I was trying not to do this, but like I'm over here like, wow, like yeah, I didn't. I was holding it back, but like it's just awesome, and so it's good stuff.
Thank you.
So let's talk about uh, three things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of. And I know you've mentioned probably some of that already, but if you want to just list three, what would you think? What would you say that would be?
So, just three things that I'm proud of. I'm absolutely being a mother.
Yeah,
I truly, I didn't see it for myself because of the anger and
yeah,
just the fears that I had around it, but truly just proud that she makes me work. Like she makes me work to be the best version of myself. And,
mm,
we talk and sometimes we don't think it all sticks, but every once in a while you hear it and you're like, wow, like maybe I'm doing okay. Right. And so I'm truly proud and just honored to even have the opportunity to be the mother that I didn't have. And so that would be one. Really just kind of like pushing through my fear and with my business, not knowing, not understanding, but doing it anyway. I
yeah,
think that and I would hope that anybody who is in that space where like, hey, I did this thing that I never thought I was going to do, that they take some time to be proud of themselves and celebrate that, because I think that that's really big. Um, Regardless of what it is, whether it's taking a new job or starting a new career or going to school or whatever that looks like. Just trusting the journey and just doing it anyway is a great thing. And then I guess I would say the third thing really would be, um, I think maybe when I moved to the point of just forgiveness and learning,
mm,
um, and learning that that people are people, and everybody has a story. Everybody,
yeah,
I don't think that my story is like, everybody has a story. And so when I can forgive, then I'm not judging, right? So
mm.
I'm not judging you for making the decisions that you make, because um
I'll make mistakes too. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
because I know I make mistakes too, and I know that through all of this, through this whole journey, I still make mistakes. I
yeah,
still don't wake up sometimes with the best attitude, but it's just. But I think that that's a big part that I forgive quickly, like quickly, because there were some things that I held on to for so long that it almost killed me, and
mm,
so I know and understand that I carried that stress in my body from the time I was 6 years old, and so um, I don't hold on to it anymore. And that's a proud moment for me, because that wasn't me 20 years ago.
yeah. And growth like that is always good. It allows you to continue to grow.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's your definition of success?
So I believe, and so the awesome thing is that when I first started out, and I still talk about success is in almost everything I do with my business, but because I believe that we get to define success, and so success for me it may look totally different than what success might look like for you,
Right.
and so to me the definition of success is anything that I do that makes me feel like I'm being the best version of myself. So
Okay.
whatever that is. So when I decide I make goals, I'm a planner. I'm really like crazy planner, but and I set goals. And so, I seek to achieve those goals with some flexibility. I allow myself the flexibility. And so success for me is just working the plan. Every day I work the plan. And if I work the plan and I show up, then I'm successful.
What do you think it takes to achieve success?
I think it just takes a desire. It absolutely takes the desire and just moving into action. Sometimes we'll be like, oh yeah, I want to do this thing. I want to take this trip, or I want to save this amount of money, and until we actually like take a step, then like we're just talking, right? So I believe that it takes the desire, and then creating a plan, and then moving into action.
Desire, make a plan, and then move it into action. Well, there it is. Well, thank you again for interviewing with the Success Chronicles and sharing your story. I mean, a lot of people, are not able to go deep, like that and share your story. But I truly appreciate you opening up with the Success Chronicles and sharing that story, because I'm going to just tell you right off the bat, it's super inspiring to me. And so I know it's going to be super inspiring and motivating to other people. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching this episode of the Success Chronicles. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go